Hey you! This is my second developer vlog for a game I'm currently working on. This past month I have been working on features for my game and they're coming along quite nicely. I recently finished my first year at university and with the start of June and some actual free time for about a week, I started working. My first task to work on was animation. I followed a video from Brackies which covered the very fundamentals. It was a good video, and with the new information I started a new Unity project dedicated to creating the so-called jump attack. The jump attack are a few chained phases where the player does the following. He moves forward, stops to charge, jumps at the enemy, lands, either re-jumps depending on if the player hit an action command, jumps back and moves backward. This went smoothly, although I'm not fully satisfied with the jump. It is good enough, but not perfect. I want to land exactly in the middle of an enemy, but with the code and tutorials I could find, I couldn't make this a possibility. During the whole creation process of this jump attack, I was quite confused about how the camera in Unity works, so I dedicated a few days to research and understand this better. Sadly, I cannot say I feel confident within the subject, but I'm getting there. I also tried to implement functionality which preserves the pixel perfect part of the game. Otherwise certain pixels can be half pixels and such whenever the player is moving. I think I only have a temporary fix at the moment. Since I created the jump attack sequence, I decided to go back to the main project and start working on the player phase at the single player part of the game. This meant a lot of new scripts, and therefore I started working with a UML diagram. These types of diagrams are good whenever you have a bunch of classes that are supposed to work within a certain structure. Now I don't follow the principles perfectly and mainly use these diagrams in order to create a larger picture. When I started working on different menus, which would show specific active badges, I soon realized I did not have a way to read which badges are actually active. So I created a so-called handler, which took the badges from the badge menu and put them in the single player part of the game. It is a temporary, or rather an imperfect solution, since I always have to first go into the badge menu settings and then go into the single player part of the game. After this, I implemented a bunch of scripts which were necessary for the attack menu, specific attack menus, the player, the enemies, and so on. The following days, which are the 17th to the 24th, I have only worked on the menus, handlers, and everything related to the player phase, where the player can choose attacks and pick a specific enemy to attack, then perform the attack, which would then activate the next phase. And when I say only, I also started working on how the hammer attack should work for the player. I did this within the same project I created the jump attack. It was not very hard to implement, and with my novice experience it only took a few hours. That is a little less than 3 weeks worth of work, excluding things that are necessary but maybe not super interesting to talk about. The following month, I will work on finishing the different menus for the player phase, implementing 3 new partners and their own specific functionality. Implement a basic enemy which can jump and use a hammer attack of some sort. After all this, I will start to work on badge attacks, which use sound effects to be quote-unquote different. I also need to implement functionality so the UI header containing HP, FP, SP works with the player and partner. I would love to get a prototype finished before school is starting again, which would be in late August. Multiplayer is the finishing goal, but currently the single player part of the game is the first goal and also the goal for the prototype. That is it for this month. Thanks for watching and hope to see you in the future. See ya!